What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another video. Today it's going to be sort of similar to what I did about a week ago on my topic of whether flat rate is dead or flat rate is still alive, or if you should still be a mechanic or a technician in the year of 2024. So this is going to be kind of similar on the same path, but we're going to be talking about more pros and cons of being a technician or a mechanic in the year of 2024. So I just really want to give a breakdown of pros and cons, and that's it in this video, so you guys kind of get a better understanding of the pros and cons of being a technician or a mechanic in 2024, because the previous video I did mainly just flat rate and if I think the system is still alive or if it's dead and if you should still continue seeking to become a technician or not. But this one's going to be strictly pros and cons, so I get to the good and bad of the trade, so you guys can kind of gauge whether you want to endeavor further into this career or if you want to choose a different path. But hopefully this gives you a little bit of insight on the good and bad. I do have my notebook here again. I do need to reference back to it because there's a lot of pros and cons and different points I'm going to be making, so I want to get everything I can into this video all in one shot. By taking these notes and reading down, I can kind of say the notes I wrote down a little bit better. So we'll start off with the pros. I think for me, number one is you learn a very valuable trade. It doesn't matter what year you are. It could be 5 years from now, 10 years from now, today, tomorrow, the past. No matter what, there's been cars from the early stages of the 50s, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, with the Model Ts to now with electric vehicles, gasoline vehicles, hybrid vehicles. Everybody and anybody, 98% of the population probably has access to a vehicle. And if you don't have access to a vehicle, there's public transportation like the city buses. So there's just vehicles all over the road. So that's a huge plus, because no matter where you go, whether it's big rigs, public transportation, like I said, with buses, personal vehicles, rental vehicles, fleet vehicles, city vehicles like the fire trucks and ambulance, police cars, etc. You always have a job in different areas of this trade, whether it's flat rate, dealership, independent, private, city, etc. You learn a very, very valuable trade, and the mechanic breed is a dying breed. So learning a trade like this opens up the doors to a lot of different avenues that are very similar for technicians all across the board, whether you're dealership or city services. So I think number one for me for a pro is going to be a valuable trade that you learn by being a technician. Another pro for being a technician is multiple sources of income. What I mean by that is, number one source of income is your primary income, whether you're a technician at a dealership or a private entity, whatever it is, you make your income on a W-2. That's one source of income. Your second source of income is a side job. You could be pulling a lot of side jobs, and that's all cash. So now you're up to two sources of income. And the third source of income is YouTube. So you have Eric the Car Guy, The Humble Mechanic, Cletus McFarland, a lot of different channels like this that, whether they're actual mechanics as well as they make YouTube videos. So that's a different source of income. So you got your W-2 source of income, side job income, YouTube income, and that's three sources of income you can make by being a technician, by learning this valuable trade. So I think that's another pro to being a mechanic or a technician in the year of 2024. Number three would be opening your own business. I think being a technician or mechanic, let's say for 5 or 10 years, you learn a lot of tips and tricks from senior techs, and you learn a lot of valuable information also from making mistakes. So if you make mistakes, you learn what not to do before you open up your own business. So learning a trade like this, I think it gives you a better avenue of opening up your own business, because you buy your own tools already from the get-go once you're a technician. So you're already buying the tools you need later on when you decide to open up your own business, if that's the route you decide to go. So to me, that's a huge pro. That's a huge plus, is starting your own business. A lot of people don't want to work for somebody else. They want to have their own schedule. They want to take time off whenever they want to take time off. They want to have their own shop and do things their own way. They don't want to answer to anybody. They want to punch in or anything like that. So opening up your own shop is a huge plus for a lot of people. So for me, that's a huge pro as well. So that'll be my third pro on the pros list. Number 4 for me on my pros list is kind of similar to learning a valuable trade, But for me, number 4 is you can do anything if you decide to leave the industry of technician or mechanic, because, well, cars have it all. We have electric vehicles, full EVs, so that's high voltage stuff, and we have normal wires for headlights, stereos, computers, ECUs, anything like that. All has to do with wiring. So if you wanted to go into the electrical field and become an electrician, you kind of have a good understanding of how electric current works and things like that, coming from the automotive industry, going into the electric or electrician industry. So that's one avenue you can go if you decide to leave the technician industry and go somewhere else. HVAC is another one you could do. We have AC in all our vehicles, even the EV vehicles. So going into the HVAC system, you're working on bigger systems, you know, for houses or industrial complexes and stuff like that. So I'm not very knowledgeable to it, but HVAC is HVAC in my opinion, I think. So if you kind of have a good understanding of how it works, you're maybe just working on a scale 2 or 3 times bigger than what's on the car, but you might get a good understanding of it while working there for about 6 months to a year, and you're going to learn really quick due to the HVAC you've been learning on vehicles or the electric side of the vehicle. So those are 2 different avenues you can go down if you decide to leave the industry of technician or mechanic in 2024. So that's another pro to me as well, is you're not limited to just cars. You can do anything after cars if you decide to chase that goal instead of continuing to wrench. Number 5 for me, pros. I've done a lot of different jobs, and I've been here almost the longest time I have in any career I've done. And to me, this is the most fun I have, with all the shop antics and all the guys you have around you, with all the jokes that you play and all the kind of stupid games you play. To me, that's a huge pro, because for me, I like waking up and going somewhere that I know it's going to be fun. I don't want to wake up and just kind of be bummed and looking at my watch and saying it's time, is it 4 o'clock yet, is it 5 o'clock yet, whatever it is, and I'm just trying to clock in and clock out. For me, having a good shop atmosphere or shop energy is a huge pro to me, and I think with every shop, I've been to 3, the shop antics and the shop atmosphere is always great to that, and that plays a huge role for me, because like I said, going in and having more fun makes the time go by quicker. It gives you a little bit more energy to want to work, especially if you're flat rate. It keeps the spirits up high, and you can flag more hours just by getting into a good groove and having good spirits, being in a better mood than you are in a salty mood or anything like that. Lastly, for me and my pro that I can think of for being a technician or mechanic in 2024 is fixing your own stuff. Face it, guys, we're mechanics, we're technicians. A lot of us have toys like side-by-sides, Can-Ams, dirt bikes, motorcycles, off-road trucks, whatever it is, whatever you're into, drag cars. We can do our own work. We don't have to go and pay somebody to do this work for us. We can do it ourselves, and that's a huge pros, because as you guys know who are watching this channel, you probably work at a shop. You know how expensive it is for our door rates, how expensive it is for parts, labor, etc. It is very, very expensive right now in the year 2024 for everything. So being able to fix your own stuff is a huge pro. Not only your own stuff, but your family stuff, your wife's stuff, your girlfriend's stuff, whoever it is that you're trying to fix and help their situation. You can save them a lot of money while making yourself a good amount of money by doing side jobs, because you're trying to help your mom out. You know how much it is at the dealership. If you can help fix her car, your dad's car, whatever it is, you're saving them a lot of money at the end of the day, and you don't have to send them to the dealership, or what some people call the stealership, and you can help save them money. So that's a huge pro to me. Let's say you're on the freeway and you're going out to the lake, or you're going out to the desert to go rip the dunes for a little bit for a weekend, and you throw a belt on the side of the road, or anything like that, your alternator dies out on you. You can fix it on the side of the road. If you have a parts store readily available with the part in stock, you can go pick it up. If you have another truck following you or another car following you, you can Uber something. You can get to that parts store, you can get back. If you have tools in your vehicle, most likely you can get that job done on the side of the road, and you can carry on your weekend, and your weekend's not done. Or if you're on a side-by-side and you rip it off a jump, and side-by-sides are very thin metal, and you break a A-arm, well, if you have readily available parts and you have parts in the back of your trailer that you know are going to break, right then and there you can replace it and you can continue having fun on your weekend, and your weekend's not ruined, all because you know how to work on your own vehicle. So for me, those are my pros on being a mechanic or technician in 2024. Also, if you're flat rate, or I'm sorry, not flat rate, but hourly, you make really good money. That's more on the mechanic side or the fleet side, not so much on the flat rate side. If you guys want to talk more about that, go see my first video. I'll try to put the link up here somewhere to try to link you guys to that if you're interested in watching that video. But if you are, just click that link, follow it, and you'll go see the other video about the flat rate system. So moving on to cons, I don't really have many cons for being a technician or a mechanic in 2024. Right now I only have 4 listed down, but we'll start off with them. Number 1 con for me, and it's a huge con, it's probably a lot of people's cons, are the huge health risks that you take by being a mechanic. And that goes with brake dust, brake clean, the oil and trans fluid that you get on your skin, and it just absorbs in your skin. That takes a huge toll on your body. Me actually personally, I have now gotten adult onset asthma. I firmly believe it's coming from all the brake dust and all the stuff we believe or breathe in the shop. So now that's something that I have to believe came from the shop, because I stay pretty active outside of the shop. So that's the only thing I could pin it on, because ever since I've been in the industry for 3 years, this has now just become an issue. So think about that heavily, guys. If you're thinking about getting into the trade, there are a lot of huge health risks. Not only like lung risk or anything like that, or skin, but you put your body through a lot. Every day you wake up and you're tighter and you're more sore, and the older you get, the harder it gets to get up, and your body's a lot tighter. So if you're not doing proper stretching or having proper nutrition, it takes a toll on your body, and it takes a toll on your body very quickly. So keep that in mind, guys. I'm only 27 years old, and I do feel it now, and I've only been in the industry for 3 years, so I can't imagine the guys that have been in it for 15 or 20 years. So that's a huge con for me. Keep that in the back of your mind, guys. If you're deciding to get into this trade, it will and it does take a toll on you, no matter how active you stay and no matter how much stretching or how well your nutrition is. Number 2, flat rate. Flat rate is back braking, and that's a huge con for me, is how back braking it is, because you work really hard to flag all these hours that you can, and that kind of touches on my first point of how backbreaking it is. When you're there hustling, you're throwing up tires, you're trying to rip the trans out really quick, drop it down, get a new trans back in. It takes a huge toll on your body, and I think flat rate is a huge con because of that, because it just keeps you pushing. You sometimes skip your lunch, you often neglect your hydration, and you just keep trying to grind because you're 1 hour away from 4 hours, you're 2 hours away from 6, you're 4 hours away from 8, and the day's almost ending, you're trying to catch up, and you're playing catch up, and you just keep trying to grind, and you end up hurting your body, and you didn't even make your hours. So that's another huge con for me. Number 3 are tools, and I talked about this in my first video. Tools are very expensive, and it costs a lot of money to be a mechanic or a technician. That it's kind of like a pro though, because if you are trying to open up your own business or do something better, and you already have all your tools now, when you open up a shop, you don't have to worry about that expense because you're doing it now as a tech. But if you aren't trying to do that route and you're just trying to be an employee, it gets very expensive very quickly, especially if you do all makes and models. So tools, guys, keep that in the back of your mind. For me, the 2 main ones are health risks and tools. Just keep those 2 in mind. Lastly, number 4, I am going to add another one, actually I just thought of it, but 4th one that I have written down here is warranty. I can't speak for every model out there or any make, but I can only speak for Toyota. Warranty is pretty tough. It doesn't pay as fair as most people would like it to pay, and you do all this work, especially if you're doing engine teardowns or transmissions or anything like that, any bigger heavy line stuff, you don't get paid fairly, and it pays a toll on your body because you're trying to hustle and make a lot of money. But when you do this big job and it takes you 8 or 9 hours, you get stuck and you don't make as many hours as you like because the warranty pay is so bad. Lastly, I'm going to finish this off so I don't make this a long video, is technician pay in the flat rate system or the dealership system. It's not as good as most people would like it to be. I think if they can boost the pay up for technicians, it'd be a little bit better, and technicians would be happier to come in and work harder and bust their ass and break their backs if they're getting paid, let's say $5 more, a minimum 40. But those are my pros and cons for being a technician in 2024 or a mechanic. If you guys have any comments, comment it down below of what you guys think are your pros and cons. Otherwise, stay tuned for the next video. I hope you guys like this kind of video. If you do like this video, please comment down below if you do, so I can make more content like this for you guys down the road. But those are my top pros and cons for being a technician or mechanic in the year of 2024.